And you will see it right there. Are we about ready to get started with this
It
thing?
looks like it is, because both of the players are ready, TotalBiscuit, and once you finish your water, we can get this underway. Looking over the map pool, for anybody that doesn't know, it's kind of a straightforward map pool, to be honest.
Yeah.
We can get this game underway. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go
Right,
for
so
it.
the map pool, Terminus SC, the new, proper, up-to-date version of it, because there's so many.
GSL Terminus SE official.
And this is the one, well, I'll actually go into this, we'll talk about that in a minute, but then Securus Plateau, Dual Site, Daybreak, Metalopolis, Antigua Shipyard, Taldrim. Nice map pool. Really, lots of variety in it, but this is a good starting map, especially for these two players.
Yeah, I mean, this is our updated map pool, basically. Funnily enough, we updated this map pool, and now we're being told we need to update it again. There's all sorts of stuff going on right now as regards to which map people want to see in tournaments.
Yeah.
And it's really debatable, honestly. There's a lot of discussion about Cloud Kingdom, there's a lot of discussion about community maps, and of course, the raging fire of Belshire Beach keeps going on as to whether or not you should use Belshire Beach in your tournaments. But we did take out Zelnaga, because, of course, that was universally reviled. As in, Idra would have probably killed us if we'd even considered using Zelnaga under any circumstances. And we are about ready to get started, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, the first... every time this happens. There we go. It's fixed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SHOUTcraft Invitational number 4. It is my pleasure to bring you Mouseport's ThorZaIN. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the south of this particular map, which is, of course, the Terminus SE brand new version, versus his opponent in the light blue trunks over here. We've got Fnatic's NightEnD, and he is playing Protoss to the east.
And for a lot of people that don't know the history between these two players, it's actually very equal in terms of games won and lost. They're literally on a 50-50 split between both of them, so anyone can clearly take it. The most recent game between these two guys was in the Scan Invitational, just in December, where we saw NightEnD win very closely with a 2-1 win. This game could definitely go either way, and as we said, this is the new version, or the latest version, should I say, of Terminus, which does have the rocks on the third, but there is no entrance to the third, which makes it a very nice Protoss map, and it's kind of a nice map for Terran too, simply because it's very easy to access the 5th and 6th gas, which both of these guys desperately want to do, as they are very passive players. Yeah,
both of these are macro. We have quite a nice mixture, really, of players that are willing to go very much macro and players that get very aggressive. You've got aggressive players like Stefano. Dark Force is kind of 50-50. Like, I see Dark Force go crazy Ling aggression, but I also see Dark Force play very macro. And then, of course, we've got Rhett, the King of Drones. We've got Cloud, Mr. 14cc. And we've got all sorts of players who have a wide variety of playstyles here. So I think it's going to make things interesting. And Grubby, I've not been able to nail him down yet as regards to what kind of playstyle he's been going for.
Dude, he just doesn't mess up with any engagements. No. He's got that left hand, which just doesn't make mistakes on the keyboard. That's like the way to identify Grubby if he's playing, because he doesn't make mistakes in any fights. He hits every spell, he hits every attack and target fires. The guy's incredible with that. And I'm sure, well, I personally can't wait to see that later on. In this game, we already see, ThorZaIN's gone for his one barracks into command center. Very standard. But on the other hand, NightEnd's taken a second gas. He's playing, also, it's very safe, but also could mean that he wants to tech up, maybe be a little bit aggressive. This map, Blinkstalkers are very nice on this map, especially with that lower ground that you can jump up and down to and from. So we'll have to see what NightEnD does do. He could also just go double gas expansion as well, start to build up the sentry count also.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Sentry count is quite important on this map, simply because of the nature of the entrance to the natural. You've got all sorts of opportunities based on the way that the map is shaped. For instance, this area right here that I'm showing on the map, that's quite vulnerable as a potential choke point. And also, as you pass that and you round the corner, there's another choke point that can be created either via the use of buildings, which is more often than not done. Forge Fast Expand, for instance, but generally not against Terran, of course, for obvious reasons. And as you expand to your natural, you will start to build a partial wall off to create that area, a trap, if you will, for incoming units to block off with sentry force fields.
And it looks like NightEnD was initially just going to take the second gas and be like, all right, well, if my opponent does do something on one base, I want to get the second gas going, I want to get the sentries up and so on and so on. But then he did scout the command center on the lower ground and was like, all right, well, if he's expanded, then obviously I have to as well. Which is why we do see the Nexus come down. The thing is that these extra gateways, he's cut probes a little bit to build the gateways a little bit faster here. So they are down at a really early time, because it's 25 supply supply. The kind of normal time would be 26, 27, 28. And even when you see somebody go for a fast expansion, you want to delay the gateways even more so you can put money into your economy rather than gateways. So he could be doing something rather aggressive here.
Yeah, he's pumping Chrono Boost into his Cybernex core. That's the second Chrono I've seen used on the Cyber Core for the Warp Gate research. That's what intrigues me right now. I'm thinking, what is he up to? And indeed, we do see a Stalker now has moved down there. There's no probe yet for an aggressive pylon, so I'm very intrigued as to why he's done that.
Well, he could use a Warp Prism and start doing some stuff in the main base, especially because Stim's not going to be done for a long time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in ThorZaIN's base, traditional ThorZaIN playing super standard, gone for his 2 barracks, then 3rd, and then we'll be looking for an engineering bay very shortly. He hits timings always, defensive timings, aggressive timings, always hits them right on, so I expect that to be coming very shortly. And NightEnd's Stalker does manage to survive. He's going to just see how many units are there, and he's like, well, that's quite a few actually. I only have not that well. I don't really have that much in my base. Maybe he'll start to warp in some units, but we'll start to see what he does do from that robotics facility now. Observers coming out first, but what will come after that?
Exactly. Is it going to be an Immortal, or is it going to be a Warp Prism? I mean, with this gas count the way that it is, it's impossible for it to be an Immortal at this point. It can't be. That requires 100 gas. He could save that up, potentially, and then go straight for the Immortal. He's seen that there are units pushing out on the map, and he needs to be a little bit cautious there, but I'm intrigued, and we're about to find out.
Well, he's now taken his 3rd gas on the natural, and shortly will take his 4th once his pros build up. And this is kind of normal of NightEnD. He does it pretty much every game. It looks like he's just going to go for Colossus really fast here, and that's going to work out really well for him, considering that we have a Ghost Academy coming down.
Yep.
ThorZaIN has to hit a timing with Ghosts before the Colossus comes out. If he goes and the Colossus is already out, then obviously he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because what really is the Ghost going to do against Colossus? Not that much.
Not a huge amount. It'll die in fire, which is not ideal. There's double Ghosts coming out right here from ThorZaIN, and we've seen a lot more Ghost play from ThorZaIN recently. He's been really going for this. He used it in, I remember actually the first time we saw him use a lot of Ghosts against Protoss, and a huge amount was actually IPL4 qualifier in the UK.
Yeah, and what we actually see right now, TotalBiscuit, is NightEnd's seen the Ghost Academy. He knows this push could come. And look at the army of ThorZaIN. It's actually pretty strong, considering Stim's done, Combat Shield's close to being done. And to be honest, NightEnd doesn't have that much. So he's like, oh crap, I actually need to get an Immortal. He may even get a second one too, because look, now the push is coming, and NightEnd could be in trouble because ThorZaIN's hitting that timing before Colossus is out.
It's so tight. Like, ThorZaIN's build so far has been absolutely perfect in pretty much every respect. He's going to hit at perfect timing. Combat Shield will be done as soon as he makes that impact. Concussive Shell's almost done. I think that's the only thing that's maybe slightly off, and it shouldn't matter all that much, because by the time he actually hits the front line, that should be done, and here we go.
There's a lot of Zealots, but they don't have charge, and the force fields have to be amazing.
They have to be amazing, and you know what? They're really not, honestly. That's not good at all. EMP goes off, and what an EMP it actually was there, as you can clearly see. Good splitting right here by ThorZaIN. Will his micro be enough to keep him alive right here? The Zealot wall's going down. That's potentially disastrous right now for NightEnd. He doesn't want that to happen. ThorZaIN still taking a pounding right here. NightEnd's additional warping looks like it was enough to push ThorZaIN back.
Immortal has 9 kills. That's what that Immortal was chrono boosted out for, and now the Colossus is here as well. Very nice hold, and he just had enough Zealots to hold on with the Immortal doing a huge amount of damage, because how are the Marines and Marauders going to get to the Immortal when Zealots are in front of them? There is no way.
Yeah.
So the Immortal does maximum amount of damage there, and that saved NightEnd. The decision when he saw the Ghost Academy to be like, I'm going to build that Immortal, I need that, saved him there. And now we have the Colossus out, and to be honest, ThorZaIN's in a world of trouble, because we're not in a world of trouble, but his tech is very much so far behind the tech of NightEnd's. He's only just now got his starport out. He's going to have to grab a second one. The good thing for ThorZaIN is, though, he has expanded. He's got a 3rd base, he's got 5 and the 6th gas. So he's not looking too bad in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in terms of tech, you might think, oh, well, he's got a Ghost Academy. That's good tech, right? Well, yes, but not against this composition. It's not ideal. So the tech is partially negated there, and he hasn't started to get his Viking count up yet. He's got a second starport coming in. He's already got one pumping out double Medivacs at the moment, and is continuing to build Marines and Marauders. And it wouldn't surprise me if he went for a more Marauder-centric force here. And we're seeing that an awful lot against Colossus. You can see there's the triple tech Tech Lab coming down, which is indicative of exactly that. He's going to put Marauders in there as opposed to Marines, because Marines die much faster to Colossus.
And we already have NightEnD leaving 3 Stalkers and a Colossus in his main base, anticipating a drop to be coming soon as the Medivacs are starting to come out. Though, because he's so far behind in tech, ThorZaIN could only build 2 Medivacs, and he has to go back to Vikings, or not go back to Vikings, start the Vikings.
Yeah.
He's now building 3 Vikings at a time. He'll probably want to start when he hits 6 to 9 Vikings at the moment, because there's not that many Colossus out, but he doesn't have that many Medivacs because of that. Meanwhile, NightEnd's going double upgrades. He's at 1-1 soon. Twilight Cancel's on the way, so he can work on 2-2 as well. So both of these guys very toe-to-toe. Nobody is at a clear advantage or disadvantage so far in this game, and like we said, this first best of 3 is going to definitely be a long one.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real doubt about that. And even the resources lost are surprisingly